So the Warriors finally put their big boy pants on and made a big move to hopefully steer the trajectory of this team, and that man is none other than Jimmy Butler. The whole world knew what was going on with Jimmy Butler in the Miami Heat, and there wasn't really any doubt on whether or not he was going to get moved, considering Pat Riley suspended him 400 times? So thus, when Jimmy Butler was made available in the trade market, he listed 3 teams that he would want to play for, and Golden State was one of those teams. Golden State was on and off about pursuing Jimmy due to their uncertainty on whether or not they wanted to risk certain assets on their team. But coming down towards the deadline, the Warriors eventually became aggressive, but Jimmy Butler said he wouldn't sign an extension if the Warriors traded for him. So the Warriors then shifted their focus towards KD, but KD didn't want to come back. And then all of a sudden, Jimmy decides to sign a massive extension, just a roller coaster of events. With this contract extension that Jimmy has signed, this will make him the highest paid player in the league, even more than Steph. Is he worth 60 M's a year? No, he's not a bona fide superstar level type of player where he warrants that amount of money, but he is an all-star level player that can help you win. The thing that sparks my curiosity the most is why he decided to change his mind. There wasn't really a whole lot of urgency from Jimmy where he openly expressed that he wanted to play alongside Steph, because clearly he's somebody that wants to get paid but also at the right spot. He made it known to Golden State that he wasn't going to sign an extension, but then all of a sudden he did. Maybe it's because he wants to be in an environment where he feels needed, because he expressed in his introductory press conference that he felt like he wasn't wanted in Miami. However, in order to make the deal worthwhile, the extension likely came with the territory. If you're the Warriors front office, you kind of had no choice considering you gave up one of your most crucial pieces in Andrew Wiggins. So if you were going to make this move, you had to go big. You can't let a guy like Wiggins go just for a Jimmy rental experience. MDJ also stated that them paying Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond was an indicator that they've ditched the 2 timeline approach and they're going all in on the top end talent of the team. That likely means that Kuminga won't get paid. He could very much be out of here come summertime. So much for keeping him all this time just to eventually dump him somewhere else. But the main thing that concerns me with this extension is whether or not Jimmy will actually feel the need to produce. Paul George, who's my favorite shooting guard ever, got paid this season, and we all know it was a massive contract. And guess what he's doing this season? He's right back to his pandemic PBS. Jimmy is going to be inserted into a heavy offensive role where he's expected to produce at a minimum an all-star level. If he starts underperforming after signing an extension like this, the Warriors will have pretty much dug themselves into a bigger hole. As long as Jimmy's motivated and hungry to compete, that's the main thing here, then everything else on paper should be fine. A lot of people online are claiming that the Warriors gave up too much for a guy like Jimmy. They sent Wiggins, Schroeder, and Slow-Mo along with a first-round pick. Listen, I made a video explaining the Jimmy Butler situation about a month ago, and that making any kind of trade comes with a risk. And in order to be a great team or have a chance to win, you have to take that risk, especially in the Warriors' position. The Warriors at best are a mid team. We know that. They're very clearly missing a second option, and they've missed out on all-star and superstar caliber players. If they want any realistic opportunities at winning, they cannot roll with this current roster. They needed to make a move that had the possibility of either making them worse or better. But what they cannot do is stay in the same spot and hope that something will magically be different. That's not how this works. That is having 1 foot in and 1 foot out. That's not going to do it. You gotta have 2 feet in or 2 feet out. And eventually now they've chosen to be 2 feet in on the Steph and Draymond window. So yeah, you can say the Warriors did give up a lot to get a guy like Jimmy, but we knew that it was going to take a price like this. There was not a deal out there in the market where the Warriors would make that deal and there would be substantially more benefits than repercussions. We all knew it was going to be kind of 50-50, and great players just don't come knocking on your door. You gotta give up something valuable to attain something valuable. And yeah, it is risky. There is a world where the Warriors can become worse than they were before. However, you gotta be able to live with it knowing that you gave yourself a fighting chance by at least trying. You have a generational player on your team. If it doesn't work out, there's all the time in the world to figure it out once he's done with the game. So it's just more about making the trade and the trade package itself, but more about how you now have a legit puncher's chance because you have a legit star on your team next to Steph Curry. A lot of people are also pointing out that Jimmy and Draymond are not going to get along because of their egos and pride. And that could happen, especially knowing Draymond. Like, absolutely anything can go haywire if you have a guy like Draymond Green on your squad. And Jimmy Butler has had a ton of situations now where he's forced his way out of teams and been unprofessional to teammates and front offices. Even though I'm not going to sit here and act like there isn't a possibility that things can get dicey between those two, it's not a guarantee guarantee that that will happen. Draymond, although he is a loudmouth, he can work and comply with NBA veterans. In the post-game press conference in their second meeting against the Phoenix Suns, Draymond was explaining the whole Buddy Hield situation and how Kyle Anderson would get into Draymond's ear about getting punked, and Draymond didn't get offended or feel some type of way. Even when Dennis Schroeder just got to the team, he was also getting onto Draymond about certain things on the court. Both Slow-Mo and Dennis possessed leadership qualities, and Draymond accepted the criticism and was on the same page. These are things that he shared that would not be covered by the media. People are just gravitated towards the KD and Jordan Poole situation, in which he is definitely at fault for those situations, but Jimmy, who's also a vet, a winner, and a leader, and actually has the right to speak to Draymond in a certain way, when he says something to Draymond, I don't expect Draymond to easily be agitated and start creating drama. The last thing I want to do is extend my appreciation towards Andrew Wiggins and his contributions towards the Warriors organization. When KD left, Wiggins didn't fill his void, but he did a damn good job in slotting into the wing position, making his personal presence known. He came into this league as a bad three-point shooter. Once he came to the Warriors, he was able to adjust and add the three ball to his game, and thus that allowed him to exist in the offense. He adjusted to also playing alongside Steph, even though he was previously treated as the number one option. He was fantastic in the postseason in 22 on both ends of the court. He would fulfill his role as a second option and an off-ball scorer, all while guarding the other team's best player and competing against them every possession. One-on-one in isolation, Wiggins is like a top 5 defender at his best. He guarded Luka and Tatum in back-to-back series and did a phenomenal job. He's a legit two-way talent where I'm grateful that he was on our team. He had rough seasons in 23 and 24, but bounced back this season in a major way in some very crucial games as well. And the thing is, he never wanted to leave the Warriors. He desired to be in the Bay and continue to work for the Warriors, and that's something that Warrior fans usually never see. In an ideal situation, we would never trade Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins should be untouchable, but due to the circumstances and the situation, because this team lacks a true secondary option, they had to give up Wiggins to fulfill that need. Otherwise, he would still be with us right now. As Steve Kerr says, we don't hang a championship banner without him, and I absolutely wish him all the best throughout the rest of his career, and I'll continue to root for him every step of the way.